Good morning, good morning, good morning. Walk and talk, or just walk, whatever you feel today. And today, walk and talk is about fear, anxiety, light at the end of the tunnel. Here is the light at the end of the tunnel, and how we survive and thrive when you feel in despair or sad or worried, or when you hear about the next bad thing that happened to you or to your neighbor or to a member of your family. How do you live in a world when information travels fast and not always inspiring? How do you live, thrive, and inspire others around you? I'm not talking about becoming a speaker or walk and talk unless you really want it. I'm talking about how your life affects people around you. I believe it's a very important topic. Why? Because we often believe that circumstance comes to you uninvited, and things that you get in life is not necessarily what you wanted. It just happens randomly, and people do things to you, or life is not right, not fair. And what else? God is not watching over me for whatever reason, and overall it's very chaotic. All of it is true and could be in your life if that is the point of your observation. The point of observation is here. Remember, lots of teachers talk about third eye. There is nothing mystical about third eye. Here is my third eye. I choose to focus on the light. I choose to focus on the sun, Ra. You probably heard it from Egyptian culture, or maybe from the stories, TV stories about Ra. Ra was actually an ancient god, not just in Egyptian religion. Ra is the sun god, sun itself. At the time where people worshipped elements, sun was the element that gave you life. It still gives you life, we just don't worship sun anymore. Some people do on the beach. Since I'm going on the beach a lot, I see people worshiping Ra all the time, but when you are doing something for a long time without creating safety for yourself, you can burn. And I'm working from 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, so I experience Ra as happiness, as sunshine, not as a burning fire. But of course, without the sun at all, we will be in darkness and probably will die. And the crops are not going to grow, and we will have nothing to eat. And the climate will change for real. So just like focusing on sunshine helps you produce vitamin D, which is not really a vitamin, but a chemical substance that could do anything. It could be a hormone, it could be a vitamin, it could be chemical, it could translate into any chemicals that you need in the body and help you develop, produce any chemicals. It gives you life, it protects you from illnesses. And it only happens when you, that vitamin in your body only happens when you are in a soft, early rays of the Ra, of the sunshine, of the sun. But when we don't have enough of the light in our life, we feel sleepy and we have to take pills. Some people even take antidepressants because they believe that if I don't have enough sunshine, maybe the pill will help. It's a magical thinking. People believe in magic, but the magic is in nature, not in a pill. And what I do, what I've chosen for myself right now is to live in a state where the sun is shining all the time, and also to be in connection, because some people who live here also do not come out until it's like 1 o'clock for lunchtime. Other time they just live, stay and work within the house, where the sunlight is not necessarily just as effective. So, what is it about darkness and light that I'm talking about today? When you do not have enough of the harmonious hormones that harmonize you with the nature, let's scratch it. When you are not in the nature, when you're not in the light, when you are in darker surrounding, whether it's darker emotionally, mentally, or physically, hormones of your body harmonize you with this kind of environment, and now you do not feel inspired, you do not feel energized, you feel heavy, dark, and you close the curtains and you fall asleep. And in that point, and that is a childhood mechanism that protects from overload of emotions and mental stimulation. And so we use that mechanism to protect ourselves. But the best protection is not hiding in the darkness like a lobster that I've shown you the other day. The best mechanism, the best protection is to come out and face the day. And yes, within the day, all kinds of things might happen. But again, it's up to you where you're focusing. Our universe is omniscient. Everything is available and possible. Everything could be and could not be. And it's okay to experience all of it, because the experiences that you've not expected, things that trigger you, push you out of your comfort zone, make you stronger, because you need to live through it, right? And what's important is to take a lesson at the end. We do live through problems and obstacles, but we forget the lessons. We remember the problem and the obstacle, and we remember the feeling, and now that feeling becomes the focus. I don't like that, I don't want that. And as long as you're focusing on what you don't like or don't want, it probably will happen again, just because likes attract likes. But at the same time, you can focus on what is it about me? How do I end up in a situation that requires so much effort, and not a good effort, the effort of pushing, screaming, being upset, being disappointed? What am I doing that gets me there? What's the thought, the idea that brings me into this? And very often you can find not necessarily your idea. So the lesson of each situation is how to deal with this situation optimally, or better yet, not to get into a situation that takes so much energy to deal with, because that creative energy could be used to produce something more interesting, more enlightening, more happy, more lovely in your life. My daughter-in-law word is lovely, how lovely. And I love it, because when things are lovely, that means that you love your experience, and the experience that you attract is lovely for you. And if it's not so lovely, find a way to make it more lovely, because that's the lesson, the optimum lesson of life, the ultimum lesson of life is how can I live? Not how I can suffer and die. The lesson is how can I live? How can I create more life? Because again, when you are in a situation where you have to overcome some things, the stress creates less life. It looks like you are more powerful in the moment, but only because the hormones that are helping you to go through, adrenaline and cortisol and other hormones of stress, which in turn destroys your body. And as your body is being destroyed, you think that you're helping others by pushing yourself out of norm. And in extreme situations like fire, I work with firefighters, so I know how it is. In an extreme situation, you go through fire. But do you want to live in a fire? Probably not, because your adrenal glands will be burned, and your body will suffer because of that. So everything in the body is harmoniously working together to produce more life. But if you dominate one part of your body with your thoughts of worry, for example, fear, worry, anxiety, at that point, the rest of your body goes on the back seat, and adrenal glands get in to get you out of the problematic situation. And that creates a particular rhythm in your body. And that rhythm is very simple. Your cells are like that. So in between your fingers, in between your cells, in the middle of the palm, is the nucleus of the cell. And those are the tentacles that go out to create dendrons in the brain, for example, that go to connect to other cells. So it's like joined hands joined together with fingers joined together with other fingers, create neural connection in your brain, but also create all kinds of connections within your body. And between the cells, you have the liquid through which cell eliminate stuff through their membrane. The cell releases toxin into that liquid in between the cells, and then it through the lymph clears out of your body. So when you always live on the same emotion, when you always focus on the thoughts, how terrible it could be, how terrible it was, and how terrible it is, and what are the things that are unsafe, and how you can save yourself from unsafe, and realizing that saving yourself from unsafe is impossible because we live in the community with the people, and not every person is safe. By the way, you can live in safer community, but that's not a discussion. If you want to move and you need to move and you feel it for a little bit, that means that you already made a decision, you're just not following through with your decision. So pay attention to your desires and thoughts. They are most likely produced based on how safe you feel. So anyway, your cells now, with the production of unsafe thoughts to hormones that help you deal with unsafe, which is cortisol, adrenaline, you are having an overload of one substance, of one chemical. And that chemical now is training your cell, your membrane of the cell, to change to be a good docking point. So let's say for vitamin C you need this, for adrenaline you need this. So the shape is changing. I'm doing it really primitively, but in order for you to understand it fast. So your cells are now changing the shape of the tentacle and the space in between the tentacle of the cell, dendrons of the cell, to be able to metabolize, to get in and then to get out the chemicals that you're producing. And what happens now is your body is like a dog. You're training it every day. You're training. And so now that body cannot have a healthy food or healthy vitamins or healthy thoughts. It craves the fast food of adrenaline and cortisol because it gives you a boost of energy right away. So in the morning you wake up, you have coffee, then throughout the day you think terrible thoughts, terrible things are happening everywhere. It will happen to me, my family, I might even die. And immediately the release of cortisol and adrenaline is there and you feel activated. You feel you can control things, you feel you can do things and protect others, and you become a savior. Great for you. But these are illusionary ideas produced with hormones that need to hormonize you to the environment of unsafety, which produced by the thought of unsafety to begin with. And maybe the world is not safe. In some places it is. Maybe the world is safer in other places. But the only place you can control is here. And when you start controlling your world in your thinking, your body starts harmonizing with the peace and with love for the nature, for example, or for your kids. And now you're not scared or worried. Now you are love and you are peace, which creates a shift in vibrational environment of your child. And maybe with that peace and love within your child, that child is not going to be attracted to unsafe places. And that's how you change the world one person at a time. One person at a time means you. We don't need to help anybody else with anything but being who you are and striving to be the optimal, peaceful, safe environment for yourself so you can sustain your life. And by doing so, you give a great example to others. But even if they don't care, for example, in your space, all of a sudden they calm down. Very often, for example, I travel a lot, and children on a plane go crazy. Really, they don't know what's going on, the fluctuation of pressure, and too much people around, and uncomfortable space for a long time. So they start screaming. And I love children. I don't like screaming children. I'm pretty sensitive. But I should say I feel the world as if I don't have a skin, my bare body. And when they start screaming, all I do is I calm the environment of the plane through calming myself. And if I feel the child is extremely aggravated, because it's not just the child, but maybe the mother is in the state as well, I just walk nearby, a little closer, and I don't do anything to them. I don't send any loving energy to them, because they're not ask for it, and they cannot receive what they don't ask for. That, by the way, is a very important point. Don't give anybody anything because they didn't ask for it. If they do ask, of course, but unless they ask, just shift the environment within yourself. So with my focus on the beautiful sky, for example, or on the destination I'm going, or on the well-being of the planet, or on the potential of this child to be happy, healthy, and well. Just focusing at that potential shifts. And the mother is like so shocked. The child is screaming 1 second, the next second it doesn't. And the reason I learned that, because I was working with Waymaker. It's a bioresonance technology that I've explored. I have all kinds of machines at home. I just love technology for a little bit because it teaches you what we do with technology. We create something that is about us, because we are creators, and we externalize it and engineer it, and then use it to calm ourselves down. So I used it with attention deficit disorder. I used it with people with anxiety, worry and anxiety, which is very often the produce of attention deficit disorder. And the name attention deficit disorder is a very interesting name, because we put ourselves in this order. We lose the order when our attention wanders. When we cannot focus on what's important, what's life giving, it wanders into all kinds of terrible things. Of course, we don't have an order in our life. So it's not a disease, like many people talk about. It's a wandering of the mind that creates disorder. And you can train your mind to focus. And for different people, it's different. For example, focusing on something terrible might be habitual, and you train yourself by using a beautiful picture of a child of yours or somebody else's child, or a nature, or an animal that you like. And every day you train yourself throughout the day to remember to look at the picture, to smile to the picture, to admire the picture, and your mind starts receiving hormones of serotonin, dopamine, even melatonin to calm yourself down before the sleep. Find something to focus on and train your body, and now your body remembers, when I look at this, I feel better. When I look at this, I feel better. When I look at this, I feel better. And pretty soon, the cells of yours, they change to accept those new chemicals, and now your body craves those new chemicals. They don't crave anymore cortisol unless it's appropriate. There are appropriate moments where you need a cortisol to jump, to run, to fight. If you're really in unsafe situation, you will know it. How? You will see the tiger. If you only think of the tiger, the body reacts the same way. Whether you think of a tiger about to eat you, or you actually see the tiger about to eat you, your body reacts the same. But you don't need a reaction of running, fighting, and jumping around if the tiger is not there. So train your body to think about something like a rabbit, for example. I had a conversation with my client about Jesus. I very often have theological conversations because I know all the religions. I've studied all of them, so I understand how things work in the universe. So Jesus was a teacher of love, a big heart that came on a brink between the darkness and lightness. Our planet in 2012 has shifted, but Jesus came 2000 before to teach how to sustain that movement from darkness to lightness, because our brain in the darker part of the universe where we were moving, it's not darker in color. Universe is dark in color. It's darker in vibration, lower vibration. The planets that are there are not beneficial for human psyche. And therefore, we had Kali Yuga, if you've heard of that. The world was focused on destruction. And then we've shifted, 2012 shift that was predicted in many, many cultures, had created the move we had for 26,000 years in one part of the universe. Now we're in a different part of the universe. But of course, just like sun rise does not happen in 1 minute, sunrise in the universe also morning doesn't happen in 1 minute. Sunrise in the universe is slow. And so we are slowly moving into the full sun. But luckily, every day we can connect with the full sun, with the energy of Ra, Radost, Raduga. Those are Russian words, Slavic words, very ancient Slavic language, which is my native language. And the connection to the sun helps your soul to awaken, helps your body to awaken, helps to break down the melatonin that keeps you asleep all day long. And walking helps you move your body and move your energy to a higher level. And now you have energy for action. So back to the universal shift. We are moving through that lighter part, and everything that doesn't match, which is our psyche based on fear and anxiety, on terrible things that might happen, on terrible people that can come, on the terrible situations in banks, in currency and everything else. Yes, they might come or they might not come to you. They might be happening, but not necessarily in your bank account. The hackers hack accounts all the time. Somebody hacked my Telegram one day. Yes, that happens. And I figured it out, and I went and I cleaned it up. And that's what life is about. You figure out where things are not working. You go in and you clean it out. And what I did is very symbolic. I found the active session in my Telegram channel that was run by somebody else, not me. And I had some patience, because Telegram doesn't let you eliminate something immediately. It gives you time to think if it's yours, if it's not yours. And I had to live through this 24 hours until I had to eliminate it. I had an access to it. But I disconnected from that intruder. And since that, I'm okay, until somebody else tricks me with anything into doing, connecting to this unsafe energy. But immediately, by the message you receive, you could understand this is not the message meant to support your life, and you can disconnect. And that's what life is about. You connect to lighter, higher sources of energy and information, which are people, because that's how we connect, and nature and animals. Or you disconnect if it's not beneficial for you, or you're not ready for it. Sometimes people connect to me, they receive a session. Back in the day, I recorded every session, then I stopped because people shift in one session and it's not beneficial to go back. But anyway, 3 years later, how did you know? I'm like, I'm a channel, I know stuff. Oh my God, if I could listen then, if I could understand what you're saying. People are not ready sometimes to receive the message. But if you tagged in this post, in this broadcast, that means universe wanted us to connect. So in time, my intention is, in time when you're ready to receive a lighter, point of view and become lighter in your life and put a light on the dark matters in your life. So the matter becomes lighter. The matter of your life, what matters to you, could be shifted. And you could disconnect with some heavy stuff that is no longer working for you or working against you, for example. So anything that happens is the reflection of how you think or how you thought. Our body is a reflection of how you thought and what you ate and where you've been 7 years ago. Because in 7 years, all the cells are changing. Your psyche is a reflection of 9-year cycle. So if you're in the first day of your cycle, you want to shift, to move, to do something different, to be different. You have a boost of energy. And on the 9th year of the cycle, you want to complete. You don't like it anymore. You might not have energy, you might not understand what to do, because you are getting ready for the new cycle, the first year of the cycle. And that means you need to say goodbye to some things that have gotten in your space by accident. Nothing is accidental, even our conversation today. They got there because in your mind you have intentions that are not very conscious. We call it conflict in consciousness. I want to go on vacation, but I will not go because other people are suffering. In my mind, it's not linear, right? My vacation and their suffering is not one line. Why it's not one line? Because my lifeline and their lifeline are two different lines. And yes, sometimes we create a crucifixion. We come on that cross, and now we feel that we are crucified by somebody, not somebody, ourselves, because we build the crosses out of other people's suffering, and we decide that we will save them by our suffering. That's just the story. By the way, Jesus Christ didn't come to suffer, really. Jesus Christ came to love. At least this is my understanding, because I talk to universe, and that's how I receive the information. That Jesus Christ came to love, and at that point, people could only understand suffering. And so to talk to somebody in suffering from the high position of love, which is 500 on the emotional scale, they would not hear you, they would not understand you. How do I know it? I've done that. I worked with mentally ill people. I even took one of them on the Everest track, going all the way to base camp of Everest, and she almost threw me off the cliff because I was full of love. I was very fluffy at the time. It was about 15 years ago, I think. But 2009. So I was pretty fluffy, and I thought my fluffiness will rub on the people and they become fluffy. Not really. She could not hear me. And people I worked with mental illnesses at the time, they could not hear me either. And I need to come down on emotional scale. People with this disorders, all kinds of disorders, they live in fear, anxiety, and anger. So, because fear is disempowering and anger is empowering. So, they move through the number 8, like infinity sign, between anger and anxiety. So if you find yourself moving between anxiety and pressure and then into anger and exploding and back into anxiety, it's just an inadequate thinking process. You need to shift into the lighter thinking and disconnect from the idea that you're crucified. Your lifeline, healthy line, is for you to walk on. And people have their own line to walk on. And they have also crossroads. So when you have a crossroad with somebody else's life, what happens, you're no longer focused on what is yours to cause and create. You start focusing on what is there to cause and create. For example, maybe they need to create a vacation. Maybe they have to create a healthy lifeline. Maybe they need to find the positivity in their life. But they don't, because you do it for them. And therefore, the vicious circle of the crucifixion continues. So it's absolutely up to you. And Jesus was teaching about love the person enough to see the wholeness in this person, to know that everybody is a child of God and everybody is whole and complete just the way they are, and their soul has its own mission and its own fulfillment, and you just allow them, love them as if you have a heart of the Jesus, and you allow other people to be the children of God and find God however they need to find it. Now, I do not belong in any religious group, but I know all the religion books. I've read a lot of those books because those are codes for humanity to find love. And for me, Jesus Christ was a symbol, and he was also a person who's been a teacher, and that archetype of a teacher is what I love the most. But Moses was also a teacher, and he taught what humanity follows up to today, which is I am a channel of God's word, and I brought you the rules, many rules in Jewish tradition, at least 613 you need to follow. There are more than that. But for the humanity, what we've all taken from the old text is do not kill each other. Do to your neighbor what you do to yourself. It's a great commandment. If you love yourself enough to allow yourself to be, to live, to make choices that are lighter, that open your heart. But if you do not allow yourself, don't do to your neighbor what you do to yourself, because you'll kill the neighbor. Even though you think that you are serving God, you're not, because God dwells within your soul as a spark of creativity. The creation process is you. You are in creation process with God. And Holy Spirit is not a piece of the story in one religion. Holy Spirit is your spirit. And how holy it is, it's up to you. Sometimes you do holy things, and sometimes you do unholy things. But again, don't blame it on any fictional characters, including the characters of your family. All characters are fictional because characters live here. You interpret every character, even the holy characters. You always interpret how it is about you. So instead of interpreting it from the fear and anxiety and how terrible it will be in my life, you can interpret it from a big heart and the rules of the universe. 10 Commandments is a good place to start. And first, take care of yourself. Be the strategist and leader of your life. Understand yourself as God. And don't create any other images of it. Just be the light, the Ra, the sunlight, the heart that open to the world. Be that. And only then do to others what you do to yourself. And only then you can understand your mother and father as a human being that gave you genetics, but also as children of God, who also came here to explore their mission, and they owe you nothing. But you don't owe them anything as well, because they've created you, because they're gods, and as gods they create. And you are the pinnacle of that creation. And as the pinnacle of that creation, you have omniscience of creation within you. And God, eternal, lives internally. It dwells within you. Greg Braden is a great author that I would highly recommend you to read. Greg Braden has wonderful books about it. He is a geologist and philosopher and a teacher and a scientist that has everything that I'm talking about explained on a scientific level. I'm not a scientist in any way, shape, or form. I'm a humanitarian, so my husband always tells me, do not talk about science, you confuse people. So that was my science, the cell, and how it operates. But you can find great science on the internet, and Greg Braden will give you the spiritual science, how everything relates to everything through the scientific experiment. And even where the human came from is also explained, and you will understand that monkey is just one of the 21 working theories supported by science. So I do not choose that theory. I'm not a monkey. Monkey is not my relative either. I don't have relatives that are monkeys. And when I go to the zoo, I feel for monkeys because they want to be human and they try really hard, but they cannot be. And there is no missing link because there is no link. But that's just my perception. I choose to come from the universal elements of love and trust and connection, and therefore looking for that as my parental unit and not looking at whatever happens around me that could create an anxiety. Because like I said, we are moving in a lighter part of the universe, and the earth has its own vibration. And for many 100 years, it was 7.5 Schumann resonance, 7.5 hertz. Then it went to 8. And now it's measuring between 30 and 50. I didn't really look into the latest measurements. It just came to my mind today to look into it. Good morning. But look at it. Schumann resonance is how the earth vibrates. And the earth vibrates at a much higher level. It went up, 8 times? 7 by 8, 56. Yeah, between 6 to 8 times higher. So imagine your body moving 6 to 8 times higher, faster than it was before, right? You'd be running in your life. You'd be managing so many things. But, and by the way, hydrogen in our body also changed its speed. Scientific fact, I didn't make it up. Look it up, how the hydrogen, there are experiments. Hydrogen is now moving faster, which affects the whole body. That's why you feel that you're out of sync with the day. You wake up and there is an evening. But you can slow yourself down by walking faster. It's a paradox, oxymoron. But if you walk fast, and if you charge your body in the morning, you get in sync with your hydrogen. You sweat a lot. You breathe, you drink some water, and you bring yourself into sync with the higher speed of the earth. By the way, 50 is between fear and anger. Fear is between 30 and 50 on emotional scale, and anger is between 50 and 70. And between 70 and higher and 100, you move into desire. I want it, I want it, I want it. Give it to me. So, since the resonance of the earth is moving up, it pushes the low vibrations up to the surface. So if you live in fear and anxiety, you're actually living under the moving, fast moving up the resonance of the earth, and the earth itself moving into a higher vibrational part of the universe, where the planets affect us positively. So it's a sunrise of humanity is happening right now, and you can wake up now, or you can wake up when the sun is in zenith, 12 o'clock. We are now in early hours. That's why waking up in early hours helps you sync synchronize with the new resonance of Earth, with the vibrational quality of the planets that are now more available. And I'm not talking about planets we see in our view. I'm talking about the universal collective energy that also affects us. Sun deposits about 80% of the energy in our body, and about 70%, and 30% comes from the moon. So I never really connected to the moon, but what I do know, full moon these days really strongly affects us, and that energy fluctuates through us as water, and our body is about 70-80% of the water, brain is 90% of the water, and so water is important. You need to drink a lot, and you need to move fast, and your oxygen level rises, your hydrogen speeds up to the point where you can synchronize with the time of the day, and you can accomplish so much more. But also, when you are in the sun, you acquire serotonin, you develop serotonin, and looking at the sun in the early hours is extremely beneficial. if you look at the sun later on, even like right now, it's 8:30, so I need to close my eyes a little bit, not to be burned. So when you are communing with the sun as an element of fire, you become more fiery, which means you have more digestive energy. You have you can digest things that come to you throughout the day. Not talking about food, I'm talking about mental, emotional digestion. And then you can, using that fire, produce more fiery, more charged creations throughout the day. But if you move enough, if you walk enough, those fiery creations would not be fiery in your voice, for example. You probably are noticing that my energy settles as I walk more and more. If you listen to the first broadcast, it was I'm slowing down in how I'm still walking very fast, but I'm slowing down in how I talk. Vibration of my voice, my timbre, my sound is changing. And the reason for it is that I experienced the change that I intended to experience. My intention was to create relationships of love and trust, and to bring that solidly in my family, to learn how to listen, not just talk. And therefore, I always ask you, connect, please. Write a message directly, or ask for a short conversation, strategic conversation, in which we can look into what is dark in your life, where do you need a little bit more light. My name is Svetlana. Svet means light. And that's not just my name, it's my mission. I bring light. As I walk, I intentionally create light in every step. And so imagine a channel of light moving through, leaving the light, the tail of light behind me, and projecting light from my heart in front of me. So as I'm walking around my neighborhood, I'm charging my neighborhood. The people smile better, more. We used to have some issues in our neighborhood. My daughter would come to visit, and people would jump up and like, who is she? Why is she doing this? And why she's in our playground? And I'm like, people, calm down. We have a playground. We don't have any kids on this playground because kids are in school. Those are little kids. No need to worry about it. So I even went and spoke about it as a speaker at the gathering, and people came down because they understood that when the children are laughing, that is the best sound you can hear, along with the birds chirping. And when kids are smiling, this is the best sunshine you can see, along with the sunshine. And as you walk in your life, you also create those fluctuation of energy. So as you walk, make an intention to be the light third person, to see the world with the eyes of God, with the heart of Jesus, with the mind of Moses, and also the mind of Buddha. Buddha was a teacher that was telling you, you cannot save anybody, you cannot do anything for anybody, you can just sit under the tree and pray. Prayer means I am one with the universe, and I hear the universe, and my prayer is my state. Prayer is not the words you say. Those are also useful if you don't have your own words. You can absolutely use the words prescribed, like a recipe. You use the recipe when you cook, and then you start cooking on your own because your creative genius kicks in. So Buddha was saying, I am not the boat, I am not the river, I am nobody, nothing. You use the boat, you use the river to find your own way. I'm interpreting. If you want to know the Buddha's teachings, I would absolutely recommend you work on Tao Te Ching. I study I Ching, the book of chances. And every chance always has pluses and minuses. When you make an action based on the choice, you eliminate another action. If you don't act, if you decide not to choose, it's still an action. Because whether you act or not act, you affect your space. So, just an action of focusing on possibilities that are better, lighter, more inspiring, safer for you and people around you, safer for the planet, By focusing on safety, just on safety, you complete, good morning, unsafe cycle in your life. You complete them first here, then hormones harmonize you to this idea, and only then the action follows. But if you do not have a clarity in your intention, if you do not have a goal to complete unsafe cycle, you will be finding yourself in those cycles again, again, and again, and again. And when I say deciding, it doesn't mean you act on it right away. You analyze, you build the relationships, you don't close the doors in a way that is unsafe for you. You just allow yourself to be brave enough to contemplate an idea that other options are possible. The bravery is not to try and control thoughts and ideas which translate into your environment that are unsafe. The bravery is to try something new, to be creative with information you receive and create according to what your soul desires. Your mission in life is to be the light that you are, photons and protons, and be harmonious, which is being one with the nature, being one with the uplifting energy, being one with the sunshine and smile. That is the goal, to live, to thrive. And anything that's less than that creates unsafe environment in your body, which then attracts unsafe environment in your surroundings, which then creates unsafe environment on Earth. So no matter when you're born, which day you're born, no matter what program you run in your mind, according to the numbers I've been talking about in all other broadcasts, you can come back to any broadcast and learn about your numbers, or you can ask for strategic session. I'm not doing any more this week because I'm booked. Maybe a few days next week. I'll open my schedule as well. Up to October 3rd, I'm still doing free sessions. So if you're interested, let me know. After that, I'm traveling to Istanbul. I'm studying in the International Academy Institute of Syucai. So when I come back, I would be very busy with doing my program. So I will be on broadcast once in a while, but not as intensely as I am right now. But I'm leaving those broadcasts for those who need to re-listen, because every time you listen to something like that, and I'm not saying I'm the only genius in the world. For me, I am. When I listen to my broadcast, I find a lot of wisdom in it, which is channeled in the moment. But there are many geniuses. Everyone enlightens the world in their own way. But if you meet the genius that eats mushrooms, use ayahuasca, marijuana, any kind of extra stuff, doing anything extra to be in charge or to be energized, think about it. Because if a person cannot be in charge of their own energy, how could they bring you to a different level of energy? It's a big question. So be in charge of yourself, move. Listen to people that inspire you. Everybody, depending on the thinking process on the day you're born, needs a different teacher. Most importantly, do not miss your teacher. Nature is your teacher. Children are your teachers. Your husband, your wife is the biggest teacher you can find. But then there are also coaches like me that help you navigate the world of uncertainty and save you time. Coaching, having a mentor. Again, I'm not advertising myself. There are amazing coaches. I'm sure you have tons of advertisement on the Facebook even. But Google, find somebody that you like, that you enjoy listening, that fits with your energy. And this person, in his wisdom, because they've done something you didn't do yet, or in conversation with you because they can hear you, might save you time and money. And it's not a luxury, it's a necessity of the day. Because as I started in the beginning of the broadcast, we've shifted. We're moving into a faster, lighter part of our life on the planet, because the planet is shifting and the planet is moving, and we cannot stay behind, or the humanity will split. And you can see the split already, politically, economically, geographically, genetically. You see the split, a very interesting split everywhere. And when you are in a split, it's like standing with 2 feet in 2 different roads on a crossroad. So you need to choose at some point, where am I going? Even though if I go forward, I might lose everything I have. And if I go sideways, I lose my horse. And this way I lose my wife or husband. And this way I'm in a status quo. And I'd rather keep my status quo. The earth is not going to let you do it. You already feel it as fear and anxiety. You already feel that something is out of kill. Something is not synchronized properly in your body. You're too slow or too fast. You're always behind, or you are not enough because people don't understand you. It's because you're out of sync. When you come into the sync with who you are and what you meant to be on the bigger scheme of things, you calm down. You find your own movement and rhythm. And you move into that part of the vibrational universe where you belong. So you can stay in duality and fight your battles and create more battles to fight, because you believe you're strong enough to fight any battles, even for somebody else. That would be a 3-dimensional universe, you know. There is a new universe that has energetically been created by people, more aligned, more awake people. And those vibrations are about vibrations of the heart. And a big part of humanity already moved into the dimension of the heart, and the rest of us are opening our hearts enough to be vulnerable, try new things, be brave enough to let our heart to be a castle with the open breach, not the wall behind which we hide, not the mask behind which we try to survive, because vibrations are attractive. So when you vibrate low with the viruses and bacteria, you get those. And when you vibrate with fear, you get these kind of events. And when you vibrate with understanding and love and peace, then you are no longer living in the same place, even though physically you're in the same place. But all of a sudden, people with anxiety disappear from your view. Somehow I'm not working with people with anxiety anymore. I work with people who want to create a bigger impact in the world, and they already do. And they want to be on a mission, and they already do. And they want to be amplified in their consciousness, awareness, so they can bring it into their businesses. And I'm not talking about speakers or coaches. I'm talking about people who create products for other people. Manufacturing, because that's my clientele who I work with, usually men, young men between 25 and 45 that are strong enough to create but scared enough to make mistakes. So we move from being scared and scarcity into understanding the power that they have and apply it strategically, creating relationships and actions in the world that matter, and that creates a physical matter of prosperity and happiness in their life. So the choice is yours. You can connect, you can build what you want to build, you can shift into the universe of your choice, or you can keep the status quo. Both of it is good. None of it is bad or good. Those are just the choices, and we are free in our choice. But we are also free to experience the circumstance. We're also free to learn from the circumstances of our choices. We're also free to understand sequential cause-effect chains that we've created. And then we're also free to stop being a slave in those chains. Because I've done this, I now have to do the same. That is inadequate thinking. Because I have all those chains on me, I have to be a slave. That is not an adequate thinking. The adequate thinking would be If I don't want to be a slave anymore, I leave the chains behind. I watch Spartacus on TV, old but wise movie, and get inspired. If I want to be the god, what kind of god do I want to be? I work with archetypes a lot. So Hercules is a great movie for children, but very funny. And you can meet all the gods in there, most of them. Or if you are a book lover, read Greek mythology, because it's very, very close to who we are. It's the closest gods we can find. Of course, they're very personalized, because at that time, on Olympus, the gods were pretty accessible and translatable into poems and books. So read the Greek mythology, and you will understand that there are gods who are in codependent relationships, mother-daughter relationships, for example, Persephone and Demetra, always looking for each other, or Hades and his wife, or God's fathers, like Zeus, for example, and God's businessmen, like Apollo, always shiny in the new suit. And not going to do a course about that, but maybe one day I will share with you what kind of God you are. Archetypically, those are Jung archetypes. You can look at yourself from many different perspectives. From the perspective of universal laws, which are only 9, and I can explain who you are within those laws and how to step out to be, to include all of them, not to be stuck in one of them. You can look at yourself as an archetype of a god, of a king, of a teacher, of an engineer. Every god has their specialty in Greek mythology. You can look at yourself as the Trinity, being a child of God, infused with the Holy Spirit and listening to the Father, which is nature, electricity of the world, speaks to you and charges you. You can look at yourself as a prophet. You can look at yourself in any way you want. But then, and that is the secret number 1, follow with the action. Once you find your light, once you understand that, the action must follow, or you will always be in the continuous 8 infinity sign between fear and anger. The fear to do things and anger that you didn't do it. So if you want a different emotion, the emotion of courage, which is a great emotion to start with your day, do something different. Follow with the action. Make one decision, however tiny, small. Make one intention, put it on your calendar, and make a decision for the next 9 days, regardless of what day in your personal calendar it is. For the 9 days, I will follow that with that intention, and I will observe how my energy fluctuates every day, because every day the energy is different. But if intention stays the same, in 9 days, you live the full cycle of 9 days, 9 months, 9 years, and you will understand the cycles in your life and how you feel affects how you move forward. And then you will be equipped with the knowledge of how things work in the universe, which helps you a lot to understand how things work in you. So, move, make decisions, create with your action, analyze your action, make a different goal if the goal that you set is not reachable yet or too small for you and you need to make it bigger, and then move again. Act again, analyze again, connect with people who can help you, people who can inspire you, and even people who you think are bothering you, connect with them. Talk, communicate. Today is my day 5 in my personal calendar, communication. Communication with you is part of my daily goal. But also communicated with other people already and will be throughout the day with the question, what opportunities, what possibilities, what potentials can I create for myself and others what potentials I can open for other people, so I also benefit from it. And being in mutual beneficial exchange is my goal, because only through energy exchange we understand each other. If I give you my energy and you give back your energy, I can understand you better. If you cannot receive a gift of energy, of inspiration, that means you just don't have resource to open your heart yet. And then make an intention to gain that resource. Even from the sun, even from the people close to you, even from the people that you think need you. The reason you are there to serve them, because they are there to challenge you to be bigger, stronger, wiser, and make decisions that work for you. Have a blessed day. Enjoy your day as much as you can. Focus on things that make you happy. Ignore the things that bother you, because it's just the day. Another day, other things will bother you, but you can always find the things that inspire you. And I hope one of those walks is the thing that inspires you to move forward without any doubt and any concern for how other people will think of you, because that is not in your control. Much love. Blessed day.